Alright, chapter 5, number 1. Find the coordinates of the vertex, line of symmetry, and minimum max values. Okay, so we start by putting that equation into the calculator, click graph, and then we click second trace. To get the minimum, we click number 3. Then we go left bound, enter, right bound, enter, and then enter one more time. And then the minimum is, let's see, -5. Okay. Y equals -5. Okay, then for the axis of symmetry, that would just be 2, because that's right in the middle right there. So x equals 2. And for the vertex, that's just 2, -5. 2, -5. Okay. Now I'm just going to write the graph on here.
Number 2. Find the coordinates of the image point given the point -2, 5, and the vertex 1, 3. So what you're going to do is just draw a little graph off to the side, and you're going to first graph the vertex point, which is 1, 3. Next, you're going to graph the other point, which is -2 and 5. And the image point is what is opposite, like on the opposite side. So right here we have the axis of symmetry, and what we want to do is just get this same point on this side. So we're going to start at the vertex part, and we're going to go over 1, 2, 3. That's how far it took us to get here, and we're just going to do the same thing for the other side. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and that leaves us at 1, 2, 3, 4. So x equals 4, and then the y value is going to stay the same. And that's your answer.
Okay, for number 3, we start by, let's see, entering this part into the y1 value. So parentheses x minus 2 and parentheses squared plus 1. Okay, and then the second part is entering this into y2. So 4, then you graph that, then you click second trace. Oops, what happened? There we go. And then number 5, which is intersect. And you basically find the 2 intersects. So that's my first curve. So guess. Okay, so the first intersection is x equals 0.2. Or 0.3, sorry. Okay. Now click second trace again. Go back and intersect. Then looking for the second curve. Or the, yeah. Okay, and the second one is x equals 3.7. Or we could just say 4. Okay.
For number 4, we're going to use a graph to find the zeros of this function. So far I just have it in my calculator, and I'm going to hit graph, and I get this parabola, but because it does not touch the x-axis, there are no zeros. So I'm going to write no zeros. Number 5. Factor to find the zeros of each polynomial. So x squared minus x equals 6. First we have to set equal to 0. So we're going to subtract 6 here and subtract it from the x. That cancels out and gives us 0. So then we have x squared minus 1x minus 6 equals 0. Now we're going to factor. So parentheses x minus 3 and x plus 2, because -3 and 2 multiply to equal -6 and add to equal -1. And then you just set both of those to 0, which gives you x equals 3. and x equals negative 2. Now for letter B, because there's a 3 in front of this x squared, we're going to multiply it by the last term, and that's hard factoring. So you get 3 times 30 is 10. So what multiplies to equal 30 and adds to equal 17? So you're going to drop down the 3x squared, and then 15 and 2 multiplies to give you 30 and adds to give to equal 17. So 3x squared plus 15x plus 2x plus 10 equals 0. And you're just going to kind of divide this in, or cut this in half and do this side first. To factor, you're going to take out a 3x because 3x goes into 15x. And so you have 3x, and then x gives you 3x squared. And then 3x and 5 gives you 15x. And then over here, we're going to take out a 2 and x plus 5 because 2 and x is 2x, and 2 and 5 is 10. So we have 2x plus 5s, so we just set that equal to 0 and get x equals negative 5. And then what's left is 3x plus 2 equals 0, which you minus 2, 3x equals negative 2, and then you just divide by 3. X equals negative 2/3. For letter C, I started out hard factoring. 4 and 3 gives you 12, and then 6 and 2 would give you 4, but it would be a minus 2, but it's not minus 12, so the hard factoring does not work for this one. You can't really factor it because you'll get an irrational number, and it'll have like the letter I in it. So I kind of just used the quadratic formula for this one. Negative b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So you have a, b, and c. So negative b plus or minus, 4 squared minus 4 times 4 times 3 over 2 times 4. So then I got negative 4 plus or minus 16 minus 48 is negative 32. So this is going to be your final answer. It's not really, I don't think it's a real number, but that's what I got.